Runs kindly for Morrison. It's Callumn Morrison! Just listen to this, please! Spencer takes over. It's Brad Spencer! It's in the back of the net! There's Donaldson driving forward. Called Donaldson! That is simply ridiculous! There's Tom Lang! Oh my word! Unbelievable! Phenomenal! Incredible! Invincible!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
Tom Lang, you are beautiful. Tom Lang, you are beautiful. It's been a long time coming, see what I did there, but he's back. The big man is back. Tom Lang is back. Falkirk are back after the defeat in the Cup. It was a win against Raith Rovers. This is Falkirk Daft, and we are here to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of the double header against Raith in the Cup and the League. I am John McAnally, and with me as ever the Ginger Got Pod himself, the one-man band in the main stand, the leader of the Prawn Sandwich Brigade. It is Ross Wayne.
Good morning, buddy. Sunday morning. It's an early one today, isn't it?
Early podcast recording. Apologies, we didn't do one last week. We couldn't make the diaries work because honestly, Sunday 12 o'clock kickoffs can go in the bin.
It was.
It's a terrible time to kick off. We'll talk about we were invited along by the club to the Partners Day because we obviously have the armband sponsorship. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, it's just like going to the stadium at 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, and just sitting there. It's like, God, it's not for me. Sunday, these early kickoffs.
No, not for me either, mate. And yeah, it's an early one today. However, at least we've got a win to talk about this morning.
And I thank goodness for that. It would have been a very depressing podcast. We'll talk about, like you say, there was bad and then there was good. And there's been a bit of an ugly during the week. And we're here to discuss all of that. It's going to be a bumper podcast today. I've got a funny feeling about that, Ross. Because there's a lot to discuss and a lot to dissect. But first of all, I think we've just got to say before we get into anything, so happy to see Paul Smith on his feet yesterday and coming over to the fans at the end, because it was a big scare last Sunday.
It was really emotional week for everyone at the club with Paul having that happen. Obviously, it happened at the stadium post-match, which for anyone who's ever had a family member or indeed themselves had a heart attack, it's you want it to be somewhere where there are people, and I think what a testament to the staff that's there as well. And it sounds like he got whisked away to hospital really, really quickly as well. And that was just amazing to see him yesterday. And it sounds like John McGlynn says he's going to be back to.
I know. I thought I was under the understanding of when you had issues with your heart, you remove yourself from stressful situations. Now, as we know, watching Falkirk over the last few decades is quite stressful. But yeah, I'm delighted to see that Paul's fit again and on his feet. And John, in his interview, got quite emotional when he got asked about it yesterday.
He was, and I don't know about you, but it completely caught me off guard as well, because like you almost got emotional for him.
Yeah,
yeah, like that wee lump in the throat. So, do you know what? And we're going to talk about it in a minute anyway, but right. But Paul Smith and John McGlynn, for that matter, epitomise what they do care about the football club. They are invested in the club doing well, right? And they get it from the fans' perspective as well. And I just think yesterday it was obviously a pent-up emotion for John after the week he's had as well. So I'm not surprised that he got a wee bit teary and a wee bit caught up in the moment when he was asked the question.
Yeah. So. Absolutely. We'll hear from John when we look back at the Raith Rovers game in the league a bit later on. But straight in to Birthday Corner. And we've got one from James Patterson here. It says, alright Dafties, I was hoping to get a shout out on Birthday Corner for my son Harris Patterson, who turns 10 years old on the 28th of January. His current favourite player is Leon McCann. When the final whistle blew on Trophy Day, we all as a family ran onto the pitch to celebrate, but Harris managed to sprint into the crowd and out of sight. After a few moments of frantically looking for him, I spotted him being held up in the air by Leon McCann. You know that feeling as a parent where you're going to lose your child, but imagine that and then you suddenly see, oh, there's Leon McCann lifting him in there. Amazing. probably about the same size as Leon as well. Leon gave him a massive hug before putting him down and shaking my hand. It's an amazing memory for him, and one he brings up every time he sees Leon warming up before the game. Anyway, happy birthday, Harris, with loads of love from Mum, Dad, Sister Enid, and Big Brothers Luke and Keegan. Love the podcast, guys. Keep up the work. Well, probably the average work. He says tremendous work, but we'll bring that down to probably average work, James. So there you go. Happy birthday, Harris. What an amazing memory, isn't it? Imagine as a kid on the trophy lift day, the invincible season, and there you're getting lifted up by Leon McCann.
Absolutely fantastic. What a story that is as well. And as you said, like as a parent, you never want to lose your children. However, I suppose there's worse places you could lose your children than on the pitch at the Falkirk Stadium. And then for it to be on Leon's being held up by Leon is just fantastic. And as you say, like that memory will literally live with him. See, John, just on that, you mentioned about us being a bit average. You do know where average things are made, don't you?
No.
Satisfactory.
And the what? Sorry, what did
Satisfactory.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
See, that's why I'm here.
Thank God we were off last week, eh? God, for that chat. Let's roll on. No entries to the F Factor. I'm very disappointed in you all. I've not seen any entries, unless you can tell me otherwise, Ross, over the last couple of weeks. I've not seen any entries.
No, I don't think so. However, we've obviously had a few that we've played in the last couple of episodes. So these are people who will, at this moment in time, be going through the final at the live event. So if you do want to be considering and you've not got a ticket, this is the way to do it. So get your entries sent over to us. Yeah,
we're going to whittle down the best three, and they're going to go up in front of a panel of judges live at Falkirk Daft. They'll perform their song, and then the judges will, guest celebrity judges on the night, as well as me and Ross, will decide who is the F Factor winner, and hopefully the winning song will get sang by the Ultras. That's the dream. That is the dream. So we'll need to speak to the Ultra boys and see if they can make that happen. But I'm sure they'll be up for it. But yeah, there we go. F Factor. Get your entries in. You can DM us or email us. Just F Factor at falkirkdaft.co.uk, and we will get your songs on next episode. Thank you very much to our episode sponsor this week. It is Rumour Architecture Armagh. They've been going on the go for 5 years now, and it's Ryan Marshall, our friend, who runs that firm. They're fully chartered and accredited architects, and the only currently 3 chartered architect practices within Falkirk. And I think after the storm at the weekend, people might need architects. If a bit of your house has been blown off or blown down, you might then go, oh well, I might as well just get an extension or something done. Maybe Ryan could help out with the co-op in Denny. Did you see that?
Yeah. Did you see the video? There was someone just taking a tenner out of the ATM as the building had collapsed.
No, I've not seen that one.
Yeah, there's someone, like, the building's all collapsed at the side, and he's sitting taking a tenner at the cash machine that's attached to the building.
I know. But so there you go. Maybe Ryan can help out with that. But yeah, they've done loads of projects round the town. We've talked about the houses where the old Polish club used to be, and obviously at the convent site across from the old Falkirk Infirmary as well. Ryan did those, and he also did Crunchy Carrots offices where the old Leckies used to be. So yep, he did all of that, and he also counts Charlie Mulgrew among one of his clients as well, the new Kelty Hearts manager. So yeah, get in touch with Ryan if you're looking to you need an architect. He is your man, dealing with all types of projects from bespoke, contemporary extensions, housing developments, commercial property, hotels and industrial clients. Find him, Armagh, rmar.co.uk. You'll get all the details there. Get in touch with Ryan, and like I say, I always like to keep it within the Falkirk family. See if you're looking to use a service, whether that be a mechanic, a painter, a joiner, whatever. See if they tell you you're a Falkirk supporter. You're getting booked. You're absolutely getting booked. So there you go. Get in touch with Ryan for all of that sort of stuff. I did. Is it an old viral video going back to the storm, Ross? The guy kicking about Falkirk in the suit of armour. That
literally just happened.
Did that happen? Now I'm sure you've all seen this guy kicking about in a suit and armour in the Falkirk. It was just opposite Tesco.
It was just outside Elliot's.
I was pretty much outside Elliot's. Was it? Because I thought it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. See if you're going to go out in a storm. do it in a suit of armour.
That's the way
You're not going to get messed with in a suit of armour. I was disappointed he didn't have a sword with him. But kicking about the town with a suit of armour. Maybe he's remember the Heritage Trust guys? They did that kind of photo shoot. Maybe he's one of those guys.
For the kit launch.
Yeah. Could
well be. That's a good shout.
Because they were kicking about the stadium as well for a wee bit during that kit launch. But So I loved that video. I saw that on Friday. Boy kicking about Falkers in a suit of armour. Why not? Right, let's get into some news then. We'll get to the big news in a minute, but congratulations to John McGlynn, who's voted Manager of the Year in the Scottish Football Supporters Association Fan Awards. So there you go. And I mean, there was no one else going to come into contention for that, was there? It's over the calendar year, so when you look at the calendar year, do you know what I mean?
Exactly. No, just listen, clean sweep of awards for John and Paul in 2024, and well deserved. And do you know what? Yeah, we had such a strong calendar year as well. Like, we've went in the league, we're still unbeaten at home as well, which is another huge thing to do. And obviously we had the invincible season last year, so no, really well deserved for John.
Yeah. A couple of things as well. Jamie Swinney, I don't know if you heard it, was on the Improving Scottish Football podcast. Kieran and a guy called John Walker. Now, if you don't follow John on Twitter, he's a really, really interesting guy to follow. Total football nerd, but he does all analysis. Like I've spoken to him before, and he does like football analysis and breaks down teams and formations and shapes and stuff like that. Really interesting chat with Kieran, John, and Jamie on the Improving Scottish Football. Obviously, the main focus being on pitch requirements and how the Championship can get better, because as we've said before, it's just an unfair league. I've always wondered, right, so for all the other ways, the promotion playoff works in, it's the second bottom takes on fourth, the second and the third play off each other, and then there's a final. Why does that not happen to the Championship and SPFL when it happens right down the rest of the league?
No. Well, obviously, when this was all signed off, John, it was
two separate organisations before.
Organisations, wasn't it? And let's face it, like you and I both are streetwise to this. Had it not been favouring the Premiership team, it just wouldn't have happened. There wouldn't even be a playoff. So I suppose I'm not saying we should be grateful that there is something. However, we're almost at that stage where if any change is happening in Scottish football, you need to be in the top division to help make that change come to happen. And I really hope, and I'm sure we will, but whenever it occurs that we end up in the Premiership, whether it's next season or 5 years' time or whatever, right, I really, really hope that the club and the board at the time stick to the principles that they've got now, which is to support I'm not saying we should support every other team, because you need to look after yourself as well, right? But what I'm saying is hopefully we are an advocate for change, as we are just now, whether it's pitch related, whether it's stadium related. Let's face it, this pitch situation is the new 10,000 seater.
Oh God, aye! It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, when you look at the finances of Scottish football, and Jamie alluded to this and on the podcast as well, 85% of the money goes back into the Premiership. So the Championship TV deal that's just been struck for the BBC to show more matches, 85% of that money goes back into the Premiership, not the Championship.
No.
Like, there needs to be a real hard look. If they want to improve Scottish football and make the product better, there needs to be a massive look at the finances and the financial gap. Because I think Jamie read out some of the figures on that podcast in terms of the disparity between the Premiership and the Championship and the money. And you look at the financial troubles that, like, the guy who walks out of Dundee United, they are fucked. Like, really, I mean, like, because the amount of money... I think you talk about the losses like Dundee have had, Kilmarnock have had when they've dropped down to the Championship. So you immediately see that gap between the two divisions, and it needs the game from the top to the bottom needs a really good look at in terms of the finances, because as you've seen Dumbarton, Inverness, clubs like that going bust because the money is not filtering down to these clubs, and it's ridiculous, absolutely ludicrous that we are in 2025 now and we're still having the same conversations that we were 20 years ago.
Yeah, although I'm not shocked. I'm
not shocked. Absolutely not shocked.
Yeah, probably not either. I just think it is criminal that this is kind of where we're still at. And as I say, I really hope that whenever we do find ourselves in a position to help influence change, that we can, because as you said, John, the money is like peanuts in the grand scheme of things. For the Championship, you then go down to League One and League Two, which is just like, honestly, you may as well not even bother. Like, do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like, what it is, it's a pittance. So, I thought Jamie came across really, really well, as he always does. And he wasn't just on talking about Falkirk, obviously, he was talking about the wider improvements for Scottish football that are needed there. Will anyone listen?
No.
Christ knows, if I'm being honest, Christ knows. But things like that definitely help spread the word.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie speaks so well, and you know, I think I've said it before. We're very lucky to have a CEO like Jamie who's very open, very transparent about everything go off, and I don't know if he'll be with us forever, because I think he'll be getting noticed at other clubs and stuff as well. We know Jamie's a Falkirk supporter, but you know, I think other clubs will be looking at him. We saw what happened to wee Ross Wilson, and he went on to have a decent enough career, still smashing it at Notts Forest. So yeah, but no, brilliant.
Unfortunately.
Was it?
No, yesterday, unfortunately.
No, I know. But no, a really interesting chat with Jamie on that, so have a listen to that. Ladies' Day, there's a few limited number of spaces have come up. That's happening against Livingston on Friday as well. I thought I was going to get the call to DJ at that, Ross. You
would have been in your absolute element.
I know, I would have loved that.
Had you been required, yeah, because I think with the change of date, they weren't sure about Dave Mack being able to host, wasn't he? So,
yeah.
But thankfully he's able to do it. However, you would have been in your absolute element that night. And then just imagine like Tom Lang coming in the lounge. It wouldn't have been the ladies that were straight over to him. It would have been you.
But it's happening at the stadium on Friday. So get along. I'll be wild. I suspect Ali, who's pretty much one of the organisers for it, she's in charge of it, and it'll be absolutely wild. And shout out to Ali as well. After the last podcast,
I wasn't sure if you were going to mention this.
I think we alluded to a member of the Falkirk staff who had a wee operation downstairs a couple of weeks ago. It was our Falkirk Dafty of the Week, and Ali, when we were in for the commercial day last week, brought us over some cocktail sausage to commemorate that event happening. So yeah, thanks for that, Ali. We enjoyed the commemorative cocktail sausages.
I think I took it to a dark place though when I went, that tasted like.
Oh yes.
As always.
Yeah, I'm sure you can guess who the member of the staff is, but we won't name him here. So if you want to get along to Ladies' Day, have a laugh there. Don't miss out now. Get in touch with Paddy at the club. That's paddy.haney@falkirkfc.co.uk for more info and get signed up for that. The game against Thistle being moved to a Saturday. Sensible decision, Ross, isn't it?
It does, yeah, it makes sense. What a crowd. I think it would have been a big crowd on the Tuesday night anyway, based on the teams, both teams' form. But Saturday, Cup weekend, what an opportunity we've got there to... Obviously, we don't know how the Livi game is going to go yet, but that is the next 3 home games are massive.
It is. I mean, if you come away with 9 points from that, it's like I might even be on the Wayne train. If you were to get 9 points out of Ayr, Livi, and Thistle, I think that's huge. That's huge. But we'll wait and see what happens. There's a long way to go. It's going to happen on now the 8th of February. So we've got 2 games in the middle, 2 massive games in between. Sorry, it's So we've got Livi, then Thistle, then Ayr.
Yeah.
So 3 huge games. So yeah, Livi. We'll see where we're at after Livi, and Thistle obviously almost came back against Ayr yesterday. They were 2-0 down. Ayr got a man sent off. Then it was 2-1, and apparently they could have nicked a draw, which gutted. That'd have been a great result for us. But nice. George Oakley got injured yesterday though.
Excellent.
So fingers crossed he's out for the game against us. But then they've signed Curtis Main, so that's not great. Anyway. Let's worry about ourselves. So yeah, that'll be a good day. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, I'm going to have a couple of beers that day. So 8th of February for the Thistle game. Falkirk Women, the game's been called off today against West Dyke. Last result was 1-1 with Dryborough. But they're delighted to announce that Mary Smith and Olivia Murphy, who I think Olivia's had a good few goals this season, loans have been turned into permanent transfers. So that's great news for the girls. And we'll be having our Falkirk Daft day out to the women's game very soon. Actually, it's
Yes.
what day is it?
I'll need to double check the date because it was the Hearts game that was talked
Yeah.
about. However, we also got a message from the coaching staff to say that as well as that game, there's a huge game. I think it's against East Fife, I want to say. So we could have a look at that because obviously, whilst the Hearts game is a big game, it's a cup game. The league is the priority, just the same as it is for the men's team. So
Yeah.
we'll have a chat about that to see which day might be more beneficial to have a huge crowd in, John. But brilliant that they've both Mary and Olivia have joined the club on permanent basis, and brilliant to see people wanting to commit their future to Falkirk Football Club.
We'll get into that in a minute. But first, I've got to say thank you very much to Behind the Wall, as ever. Stay local, eat and drink global up there. Falkirk Daft Venom still going strong. There was a couple of people enjoying the Raith victory last night in Behind the Wall with a Falkirk Daft Venom. And as well as that, you'll get the fine wines, lagers, craft and cask ales. They really do have some really good beers up Behind the Wall. And of course, food's great as well. I was in there a couple of weeks ago getting my dinner. And I had, what did I have now? I think I had a pizza. It was really nice. It was really good because you've got the pizza pad upstairs now as well. So the pizzas are tremendous. And of course, the big thing is £5 bus runs from there down to the stadium on match days. You get your return bus and you get a free drink. Well, when I say free, you just pay £5 for the bus, get down, and then you literally get a drink when you get back in there. So, and then obviously they run buses to the away games as well, and it's £10 for your bus. So £10 to Raith yesterday is a great deal on a bus. You don't have to worry about driving. You can have a few pints Behind the Wall before and after. It's £12.50 for air in Greenock as well. But brilliant. So it's just a brilliant deal. So get your name in, Scotty. I'm sure the Livingston bus will be near to full because it's a Friday night as well. So, but if there's spaces, get down now because it's a great way. Friday night game, few pints Behind the Wall. I might indulge in that myself actually, Ross, at the weekend because I'm working from home on Friday, so we know what that means. Early finish. And then maybe get a few pints back to the pub afterwards. Sounds good.
Does sound good. Excellent. Yep. No, like a Friday night. Disco Lights will be on, hopefully, as well.
Absolutely. The Complete Stone Roses are playing there on March 29th as well. And if you've not seen them, they are brilliant. If you like the Roses, go and see this Complete Stone Roses Behind the Wall. They've played huge venues. I'm surprised there's tickets still left for that. I might actually investigate that myself because I love the Roses. So, can you know any Stone Roses? Ross, surely you know.
No,
Stone
I'm
Roses.
massive. Yeah, no, I love the Roses. Absolutely.
Oh, wait, there you go. See, we've hit your ballpark. Oasis, Stone Roses, away to the races. Did you go and see them when they were playing in Scotland?
No. Do you know, John? You know me. I'm not a huge gigger, but I think I do like my indie music. That's my.
I'm going to see Limp Bizkit in March.
That sounds pretty dark.
That'll be brilliant. It's actually after the Dunfermline game, so we're in hospitality for the Dunfermline game. And then I'm going through to see Limp Bizkit at the Hydro. What a day! What a day!
We mangled that night.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. Right then, should we talk about the elephant in the room?
Yes,
the Callumn Morrison in the room. Right, let's lay the cards on the table here. It's been very divisive, I think, for Falkirk supporters this year, but I think as the week's going on, it's got a little less divisive as it is the week has gone on. So the kind of story which came out of the blue was an exclusive by the Daily Record, a guy called Scott Burns, who's quite tapped in to Scottish football, broke the story that Callumn Morrison had handed in a transfer request, and then the shit hit the fan, pretty much, Ross. We saw like the reaction online to it. What have you made of the? I guess we let's fill in the story. So the transfer request went in. Then, as usual, round the town, all the rumours started. Why it was? People were talking about the agent. People were saying it had been leaked. You know, it's Jamie Swinney came out afterwards and sort of said, unfortunately, it's true. We did not plan to make this public knowledge, but someone leaked it, so we had to respond. John will cover it over the next few days in interviews. Only credible and significant bids will be considered. So we then got to John talking about it. It was in the Herald, and then obviously in his pre-match ahead of Raith Rovers, he talked about the situation as well. Didn't seem too happy about it, and especially the way it ended. And then further to that, on Saturday, pretty shockingly, Callum on his social media says all he wants to do is play football, and then the threats had been made against him, which is absolutely shocking and shouldn't be happening at all. Don't matter how you feel about the situation. So that's the story, and then obviously it wasn't in the squad yesterday. Ross, what have you made of it all?
Like you, probably my thoughts and feelings of it have progressed as the week's gone on. Where my head is at now is I personally don't think he'll play for Falkirk again. I'm basing that on the vibe of the comments made by John, both pre-match, which I know we're going to play on BBC Scotland, and then post-match interview as well with Falkirk TV, and then obviously Stephen McGinn, who ex-captain, still very close to the bulk of the players, made comment on it yesterday. So
let's just hear what Stephen had to say and what John had to say pre-match as well on the situation.
John, I know one way or another you've had a testing week. First of all, how's Paul? That's the thing we have to ask first.
Paul's great. Yes, he's coming along today. No, he's not going to be in the technical area, but he's going to come along and watch the game. He feels really, really good. The doctor have actually said to him that he's actually more healthier now than he was this time last week. They're getting the stents in, and he's actually, in a better place. Actually, he feels great. He's come along today, and the anticipation is he's going to come back to work on Monday. So that just
excellent.
Sums everything up. But he was lucky, and thank God. But all good.
You can sense that from your own mood and your relaxation that the news is good. The other thing you've had to contend with this week is Callumn Morrison. What can you tell us? He's obviously not involved today.
No. I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'll say as much as to say it didn't go down particularly well in the dressing room, and I didn't feel I wanted that atmosphere in the dressing room today. It's too important for us. So we felt that we had a week to go in the transfer window. Either Callum will be out or to somewhere else, or we'll need to have a rethink. So that's as much as I'm going to say on that.
Okay, but generally, how does that affect the balance of your squad? I mean, if he goes, is it too late to get someone else in?
Well, it'll depend when he goes. It'll depend when he goes. We've got four. We're counting Callum. We have four wingers. We can get by with three. We've got three, and we've probably got one or two who can go and play in there. Maybe not the same type, but it wouldn't stop us having a little look around. So we'll just need to wait and see. Obviously, if it's going to happen for me, the sooner the better. Probably for Callum as well.
Right, the thoughts there of the Falkirk manager, John McGlynn. We had the former Falkirk captain in the studio with us today, Stephen McGinn. Stephen, your thoughts on what's going on at the club? Clearly, from what we heard from the manager there, it's been an unsettling time, particularly for the dressing room.
Yes, first and foremost, back up the sentiments. Absolutely delighted to hear the news of Paul Smith. It was a real scare last week, and delighted that he's on the mend. And the Callumn Morrison situation, I've been, since it's happened, really angry, really disappointed. Thought about it, it's been on in my mind most of the week. Why I was so disappointed in it, the timing of it, off the back of the manager's assistant manager, the heart attack, and what a scare that was. First and foremost, that's the manager's mate. They're real close, and I know that the manager's really struggled with it. He got such a fright, so he doesn't have the only other coach he has at the club to help him with that situation. The other is the way he went about it. John McGlynn is such a player's manager. He loves his players, and he's so helpful. I believe that if Callumn Morrison was really unhappy, or is an option to go to Bonnyrigg or Barcelona or wherever, I think John McGlynn, first and foremost, he'd try and keep him at the club because he's been a big player for Falkirk over the last couple of seasons. But if he really absolutely did not want to be at Falkirk any longer, I think as a manager would have helped him. He'd have helped it. He maybe said, look, give me the rest of the week, be available for Raith, keep it to yourself. A week left in the window, we'll see what we can do to try and help you out. It's the fact he went behind his back. And I think that's a manager that, when I'm in my time there, was amazing for Callum. Callum was excellent for John as well. He scored a lot of goals, but I just so disappointed, went behind his back, and the timing of it. And I'm not surprised at all if the dressing room have been really unhappy, unsettled about the situation.
For one, I love Stephen McGinn. I think he, as a captain, he was outstanding for the club, and you can tell from the players. That interview is what sort of changed my opinion on the whole thing. Listen, I put up, on the Falkirk Daft socials this week, and I put up kind of thoughts on the situation. Listen, we all work, we all have young families. If there's an opportunity to make more money somewhere else, go ahead. Callumn Morrison is not a Falkirk supporter. We're invested in the club. We're lifelong. As I always say, the people at the club are just there temporary. We're here for life. Do you know what I mean? So I feel if you've got a chance to make more money for your family, I've done it in my job. Ross, you maybe have done it in your job when you've had the opportunity to go elsewhere. That's fine, right? I think the timing of it...
You go about it the right way, though. You go about it the right way. That's the difference.
I think the timing was a bit off. And I think, obviously, Stephen said that in an interview as well, that, this has come in. So the timing's off, but in a footballing situation, when you've got the January transfer window, fine. I think what's changed my opinion on the whole thing, because I was very much opinion, right, fair enough, he's been a great servant to the club, he's invincible. If he's got the chance to go and make money elsewhere, great. Now, if I fully expected a move to have happened by now, because I thought that's an agent leaking the story and he has a deal lined up, ready to go. It doesn't look like that's that way, because I thought that if that had been the case, a deal would have been done by now. I think what's interesting from Stephen McGinn's point of view is Stephen alludes to the dressing room. Now, there'd been all sorts of rumours this week about that he'd been taken in and told, that the wingers were going to be rotated and that Callum thought he should start every match. That was all rumours and conjectures, and then there was all sorts of rumours about dressing room situations and stuff. But listening to Stephen there and knowing how obviously close he is with that unit of players, because it's not, it's still the same group of players that were pretty much there last season, and we know the relationship him and Cole had as kind of the two captains there. It sounds like there is the dressing room have been unhappy with that, because Stephen will been, like you say, it's been on his mind all week. He talked about that all week. He'll have been chatting to the rest of the boys about the situation.
He will definitely have been chatting to them. And as where we are now, Stephen has pretty much confirmed that the players are pissed off with Callum. John's obviously, he'll never say the word pissed off, but John appears very pissed off with Callum. Not just the fact that he's done it the day or so after Paul has had a heart attack, but he's also not done it the right way. So you mentioned you and I would probably we in our jobs we've done it as well. We've moved on to different opportunities for more money to try and better yourself, right? Yeah. Absolutely. I don't think I've ever went the back doorway though. I don't think I've ever went above my line manager and said, by the way, I want to leave. I'm going to make it obvious I want to leave. I want to apply for a job. I would never do that, and I doubt you've done that either.
No.
And I just think so that there's two things there. One is the timing, and secondly, how he's done it. And it's really disrespectful to John. It's really disrespectful to Paul. Disrespectful to his teammates. And it's disrespectful to us as well, because the fans, it's a fan-owned club, remember. We've helped Callum as much as he's been fantastic for the football club as well. And he has. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not been, because I've said on record loads of times this season, he's probably the best finisher we've got at the club. However, if he doesn't want to be here, that's absolutely fine. You want players that are here, that want to be here and want to try and get this club back into the Premier League. It doesn't sound like he has that fire in his belly to do it, and he wants to go somewhere else. That's absolutely fine. That's why I don't think he'll play for Falkirk Football Club again. I think his name being shouted over the tannoy after his goal last Sunday and the fans chanting his name, I don't think we'll see or hear that again, for all of the reasons that we've mentioned. And it's sad. It's a sad way that it's going to go. But is it the right thing? Probably. He's probably united the squad during the week, and that's partly why we saw such a reaction yesterday for the team.
Yeah, I was like, right, you can still play him, but I think and on listening to Stephen McGinn, I've kind of changed my opinion on it as well. And as the weeks progress, let's face the fact, he's going to be, he's been our talisman and our top goal scorer, our player of the year for the last kind of 4 seasons, really. And it is really sad to see that. I think it's really sad that people were. I wouldn't want to see the player booed because he has been that, player that he's been for us. So I think actually my opinion now is maybe it is best just for him to not be included in the squad now.
I think John did the right thing yesterday. He really did.
In saying that though, Callumn Morrison coming off the bench, and he's still such a threat. He's still one of our best players, if not the best player in the squad. I just think for everyone involved, just get him out the door now. Leave Falkirk. In a couple of seasons' time, be forgotten about. And he can come back for the Invincible dinners and what have you as well. But I think just
do you not think he's tainted a lot of his legacy now? Because I think he may have.
Yeah, but it's football, isn't it? It is football.
I don't mean moving on.
Yeah,
I mean his behaviour and his.
I think Steve. I think, like I say, the changing point for me and my whole perspective on it was the Stephen McGinn chat that we just heard, because you could tell Stephen's absolutely he's raging about it. He's absolutely raging about it. So you suspect if he's raging about it, the rest of the team will be raging about it as well. So
100%.
You just get him out the door. I think the time is get him out the door so we can get a replacement. And no, John did say we've got 3 wingers at the club. We've got the 3 wingers at the club that can probably do it. And we'll talk about the change of formation yesterday and we'll get on it. But it's really sad. It really is sad because we love Cal. The fans love Cal. That like you say, best finisher at the club, an unbelievable player on his day, and just to potentially end in the way it's going to end.
See, the thing is, though, John. See if you buy a bunch of bananas. One of them's rotten. You take the rotten banana out to stop infecting the rest of the bananas in the basket. That is the same situation we've got here. For the good of the squad, for the good of the harmony, for the good of the rest of the season, it had to be removed on Saturday. And I think, John, an interesting word John said in his interview, I can't remember if it was the BBC one or Falkirk TV, we started talking about the transfer and he went, when it happens. So it'll be when. It's not if now. It's when it happens. So is it going to be this week or is it going to be summer? Who knows? But it'll be when.
Can bridges be built if it doesn't happen at the end of January? Because if it doesn't happen before the transfer window, because let's remind ourselves that Callum just signed a new deal last season, so he's got 18 months still on his contract to go. The club are not going to just roll over and get tickled on it. So they'll be wanting. I don't know. I would think in the region about 200, 250.
I don't know if it'll be as much as that. I think he's proven, obviously, in League One that he can bang the goals in. He's proven that he can mix it up in the Championship to a degree as well. He's not played every game, but he's played some. I think 100 to 150,000 is maybe a.
You think so?
Realistic. I think so for the time he's got left, and he is unproven at the higher level. And let's face it, it's only going to be a higher level club that's going to actually. And
his knee. His issues with his knee as well.
Well, he's had an awful lot of support for the club, and I think whilst he made a comment, and listen, I'm not going to defend any threats against him. That's. However, the comment he made in his post about just wanting to play football, that's fine. Brilliant. We obviously want every single player to be.
But the thing is, he was getting his game. Callum hasn't been playing because he's been injured, and
he's had so much support.
That illness over
Yeah, he's had so much support for the club over the years of his injuries. He's had so much support off the club and fans the last few months with these other issues. His time to want away should have been in the summer when we knew where we were. I think it's a piss take that he's done this now. I really do think it's a piss take.
Yeah, we're on our way. We're top of the league at the moment. We're contending for the title. We could be playing in the Premiership potentially next season. There's a potential there at the moment to play in the Premiership. So it's very unusual. Who knows what goes behind closed doors? Maybe he's had a fallout with the manager. Maybe he's had a fallout with someone else in the club. Who knows? But again, well, I think so now. It's not great. It's not great. It's a sad way to end what has been a very important player for Falkirk over the last 4 or 5 years that he's been at us. And it's just it's a horrible situation. But like you say, if the deal can get, I think just get him out now. Just get him out. Get him out now. Hopefully, gives us time to bring somebody else in to just cover, the right hand side as well. I mean, we've got Alfie, we've got Ethan, we've got Calvin.
The all three of them can play both wings.
Honeyman, you could bring Honeyman back in off of loan for Alloa potentially as well.
You could do. But as John alluded to as well, like you saw yesterday, like Big Barney ended up playing sort of left wing at one point, as well. So he's just. We've got options. We've definitely got options. Aidan Nesbitt can kind of go out there.
Yeah, Aidan can play there as well, right enough. Yeah, but yeah, there are options there. But yeah, it's just I think just get him out, Sharon. That's the way to go now. Unfortunately, so yeah, there you go. Callumn Morrison situation. Jesus, I didn't want to be talking about that this time, but hey ho, that's football for you. Football, you lose your favourites. As long as Big Liam and Tom are staying, I'm all right with that.
I think we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. Right, listen, that's enough chat with Callum. I'm sure it'll come up again. But let's talk now about the Cup and League doubleheader against Raith Rovers, and we're going to do it in the company of our guest pundit this week. It's Owen.
Hi guys, how we doing?
Good. Better today after yesterday. Had we recorded this last week, it might have been a different.
I think it would have been a very different podcast last week. We've got a wee smile on our face. Well, we've obviously just talked about Callumn Morrison. It's been a tough week, but the result yesterday certainly put a little smile back on the faces of many a Falcon supporter. How long have you been supporting the Bairns for, Owen?
So, I've followed the team all my life. Furthest back I can remember is the 02, 03 season, so the glorious day Hearts in the Cup, and that's one of my earliest memories. But I've been following the club since I was lifted over the turnstiles at Brockville.
Oh, amazing. Do you remember your first game?
So, I can remember that Hearts game, and then I think it's maybe the season after Inverness away, near the 4-3 game up to Inverness, maybe the season after that.
Oh,
that's
yes. Yep.
That's kind of the two earliest memories I've got of football, other than playing on the kind of sand pitch outside and what used to be the old AstroTurf, getting scraped knees.
Oh my God! It was just you just came back with that, just blood running down your legs. It was just the sand. Oh, it was. I could just imagine that now. Oh. Horrible.
Still better than Livingston's pitch.
Very true. And we've been asking the most disappointing. Maybe there's actually a different answer this week, Ross. Who's the most disappointing player to play for Falkirk for you, Owen?
So you keep rewording this question, and it's throwing me back and forward between a few different players.
We're being more woke, Owen. We started off who's the worst player that played for Falkirk, then we were told we're not being woke enough, so we went woke now and we've changed it to the most disappointing.
So, going back to your original question, you've got crap that we had at like Payton and McShane.
I like Paul Payton.
No, John,
the two of them were only outdone by Kevin McBride and the worst players.
Kevin McBride, he was terrible. And now, oh my God,
he was terrible.
But if you were going to go, who was the most underperforming or most underrated, along the lines of your woke, we had Aidan Keena and Griffiths. Lee Griffiths should have been up there, hitting the heights. And obviously our wonder child that we got over, Daniel Marqueta.
Oh yes.
Was probably with the $250,000 price tag that he had on him. I think that was probably the most underachieved player.
That's a good memory, because it was a loan with the option to buy for £250,000, and obviously he was shit, so he just got sent back. But yeah, that he was disappointing, wasn't he? With the fanfare that he was signed. Was it Red Star Belgrade or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a shout that is. Memories there, absolute memories. Love that one. Thanks very much. We should make that the player. For all this, the secret listeners, Ross, actually we'll come back to that, because I'm letting Right, okay, so let's talk about then Raith, and we'll start with the Cup game last Sunday, 12 o'clock kickoff. A few changes to the side. Sean Mackey, Alfredo Agneman, Ross McKeever and Ethan Ross all coming back into the starting 11. We found that Eamon Brophy was injured, as was Leon McCann. Ross, what did you make of the team when you first saw it?
Thought it looked all right. To be honest, I wasn't depressed having seen the lineup.
Surprised Morrison and Miller were dropped out?
Maybe, yeah. I think it's a tough one because we do have. We can laugh about it now. We've obviously got 4 very competent wingers there who are able to play. Well, we had 4 capable wingers, who were able to play at any moment, and I think they all bring something different. So I've never looked at it and went, "Oh, I can't believe we're playing him," or "I can't believe," because they've all came in. Whenever they've played, they've all done a good job. So, and I think John McGlynn does that as well. I think he'll look to see who we're playing, who they're going to be up against. So they've all got fast pace. So against Wraith, sort of aging defence, which it kind of is, do you play players that are going to be quite speedy? So Ethan Ross and Alfie make perfect sense. And in no disrespect to Callum, because I know he's a brilliant finisher, but I can't remember the last time he actually bet a man and crossed the ball in. He doesn't seem to do that since his injury. So I think for speed, I can understand why he went with the 2 of them. It's a shame Leon was injured, because obviously I thought he'd been doing quite well. And so yeah, I could understand, but I wasn't negative about the lineup at all.
Yeah. Do you think Owen, that Alfie getting put in played into the fact that he scored the double against them and gave them all sorts of trouble the last time at the stadium?
Quite possibly. I do think Alfie struggles for the start though. I'm a bit on the fence with him. He did well last year, great player. However, consistency wise, I'm struggling to see him being a replacement for Morrison if Morrison does leave. Obviously, we've got the 3, Ethan Ross and Calvin Miller, which would be my 2 that I'd go with. But against Raith, it was set up to work originally. My obviously thought would be that I thought that Munro would maybe have played in goals just to change the keeper around, especially with now we know that Hogarth had been ill most of the week previously.
Yeah, I mean, we went through that. It was Nicky actually ended up getting man of the match in the end. We'll talk about the goals and stuff in a bit. That first half performance, Jesus Christ. I think we'll all be in full agreement here that it was probably the worst you've seen Falkirk play in about a year and a half. Probably going back to the Airdrie game, the Airdrie playoff games. That is the worst performance from a Falkirk side I've seen in a year and a half, which is great. It's great as a testament to the side, but it was brutal. We were just so off it. What went wrong, do you think, Owen, in that first half?
I've got 2 notes that I wrote down. First half, right off. Second half, diving Dylan Easton. First half, diving Dylan Easton. Team was nowhere near it. Attitude, we were lackadaisical. Not on the front foot. The passing just was pass the ball 3 or 4 touches and then try and move it on. And it just seemed to be that last let's take the speed up. I think Raith caught us out tactically. Yeah. I do think they played well. Not saying they were great, but they had a game plan and it worked. Yep. Put men on the centre backs and on Brad Spence, and we didn't figure it out until half time.
Totally agree with you, Owen. I think as much as we didn't play well, they didn't let us play well. And there was a lot of chat on this podcast about the fact that Barry Robson's obviously new to the Championship. He admitted himself that he hasn't watched a lot of Championship games, but
too busy listening to military podcasts.
Yeah, that's true. He did say that. I just think he did his homework, and certainly in that first half, it worked against us. I agree with John. I think that was the worst we've played. I actually think that was the worst we've played under John McGlynn. I can't think of a worse 45 minutes.
Were you at Airdrie, mate? Aye.
The play. I forgot what that was. I blocked that every playoff game in my mind. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, second worst performance under John McGlynn. But I think you're right. We adapted in the second half, and I thought we deserved the goal, the lead when we took it. I genuinely thought we deserved it, and with 10 minutes to go, we should be finishing that game out.
Yeah, I think, that it was, and John talks about it in his interview, it was the game management aspect of it. And again, our Achilles heel defending set pieces that came into play again. What can we put that down to? This, I mean, I go back to this zonal marking system, which I hate, but obviously I am not a football manager, and there's a reason we play these zonal systems. We saw it obviously against Dunfermline when they equalised at the end with Benedictus. It drives it mental. I'm just old school, man for man. Take your man, that's your man. Follow your man, and that's it. Owen, can you enlighten us into zonal marking?
I've never been a major fan of purely zonal or purely man marking. Get the big guys on the big guys. It's really simple. Get that front post and back post covered, and then get a couple of players further up the pitch. Your Ethan Ross, your Callum Morrison, who've got pace that can take players on. Give the box space so that Nicky can come out and command his area, so that Hendo, now Lang, Call can go in and challenge the headers and take a bit of responsibility.
Yeah, it was but I mean, John was obviously not very happy with the way we defend that, and we should have been seeing out the game. And I think if you're in the hat, if you just defend that corner, we played that second half was certainly an improvement. Obviously, making the subs at half time as well was an indication of exactly what he thought.
Let's not forget that as well. Like, he never makes subs at half time, John. Like, he
No.
never. So that shows you how pissed off he must have been.
I thought Ethan Ross was a wee bit unlucky to have been taken off, but I thought Alfie was way off it in that first half. But obviously, Callum and we've again, we've talked about the four deep good wingers. So we've got Calvin and Callum. They made the difference. Obviously, Callum got his goal, probably his last goal for Falkirk as well, with that mistake. Dubravka is it Dabrowski?
Yeah.
Dabrowski. I'm saying Dubravka. That's the Newcastle goalkeeper. Dabrowski. He's a very good goalkeeper, but he absolutely made a hash of for the goal, and it was a tap-in for Cal, wasn't it? Really. It was. We should have seen that out. There was, before the corner was taken, we had made the sub and McKenna had come on. I see a few people saying, blaming the game on that McKenna sub. I don't think so. He actually played all right when he came on, Michael McKenna. And people are on him.
McKenna was not why we lost. As much as I don't think he's been brilliant, he's not been. He was not the reason why we lost that game.
I know.
It was a very strange sub. Sorry.
It was a very strange sub to bring on.
However,
I totally agree.
Wasn't the reason.
No, I thought there would have been another two players that would have came on ahead of Michael McKenna in that moment.
Gary Oliver being probably.
Gary Oliver was one, definitely. I thought the sub timing was weird. Unless there was some other reason tactically for it. And
then Barney was the other one, but he obviously came on as well. So extra time. I thought we actually pretty much dominated extra time. And then it was just, the goal we conceded. It was a wee bit of a reminder of the goal we lost in the Scottish Cup final. A wee bit, because there was a few mistakes. Should Nicky have held the ball? Maybe. Cole was coming back to clear it, and it was quite evident that Cole was coming back to hear it. And then Sean Mackey did Sean Mackey things and obviously gave away the penalty, which was the most obvious penalty in the history of penalties. So there was no complaints there. And then that wee fanny Dylan Easton stepped up and fucking scored. Jesus. Honestly, you see him, he was right up. The thing that really pissed me off, and I put out a tweet saying there's no great player, and I'll say Dylan Easton's a fantastic footballer, and one of these boys you'd love to have at your football team, but he's a proper fanny.
He has a dick.
right up in Nicky's face. Now Nicky's, not. He's a kind of softly spoken. You wouldn't think he was giving any jip or whatever, but Dylan Easton right up in his face, didn't even get booked for it. You talked about his diving as well, and he's just a wee dick. He should
have been booked within the first minute or so. And as you said, that was a clear dive. It should have been a booking. He gets away with murder though. Same again. We'll talk about yesterday's game, but same again yesterday. He had moments where you thought, why is he not being booked here? He just seems to be getting away with it every single week.
After the first 30 seconds when he took that dive, I turned to one of the guys next to me and says, watch this, the next 120 minutes or 2 games that we play them, he will not get booked.
Yeah.
He gets away with absolute murder week in, week out, in the ref's ear, on the ground, any contact, whether it's a shoulder to shoulder, whether it's not even a 50-50, because that's one thing I was actually disappointed that none of our players took a challenge into him. They just seem to always back off him or allow him to go down. So
he needs a kick.
It's definitely
he does. He needs a strong kick to let him know that you're there.
Yeah. Maybe got that in the game yesterday. We'll talk about that in just a bit. I thought it was very strange as well. Obviously, we brought Morrison and Miller on, but we had them inverted. So we had obviously Morrison playing out on the left and Miller playing out on the right. Now we know Miller's been great on the right in terms of his numbers and his goal assists, his goals. The one thing I would say, and this is it came down to that chance. Right, we had the chance to equalise, and Miller's going through, and he hits it, and it's miles over. My thing would be if Morrison was on the right hand side. Morrison would have scored that. I think
Morrison would probably have finished that chance.
Morrison would have scored that, and we'd have went to penalties. So I thought, I don't know why. Again, I'm not a football manager, but why the decision was to play them on their weaker sides. I guess.
I suppose from a cutting in perspective, though.
But they didn't really do that, Ross. That's the thing. I understand that if they were cutting in and taking shots and whatever, but none of them really got. Whether it was just Raith defended really well, but none of them seemed to have got the chance to do that, as in cutting in and firing a shot off with their stronger foot, but it didn't really happen. So I was like, I don't know why that's happened. Or I thought he at least would have tried it for a bit and went, well, let's just swap them back, but that never happened either.
I kind of expected that after every other set piece that they would swap over or rotate back and forward the two of them. However, it didn't obviously accumulate to anything. I definitely expected and felt that we were weaker the way they played. I felt that if we changed them over, we'd get more opportunities, whether it was hitting the byline, getting the balls in, or being able to cut in and go from the inside. It just didn't work at all. It was one of the big factors that I noticed in that game. And obviously, if we'd equalised, we would have went on and won it because of the Stonewall penalty that Carl Donaldson was strangled in the box for the corner just about.
He was, that's right.
Yeah, I was. You look back at the time. I thought it was just a bit of jostling in the penalty, but you went on and looked back at the highlights and went, Jesus, that should have been a penalty. Absolutely, 100% a penalty. In a VAR world, they probably would have got it as well because it was ridiculous, and you could see Cole's reaction to it as well, just like Jesus. So no, it was a bad day at the office. We've not had many of them, but without the cup means we can concentrate in the league. It would have been good to have, just for the day out and just for obviously the coffers as well. If you were to land, Hearts away, or obviously Raith have got Celtic away. It wouldn't have been us by the way, because we'd been ball number 8.
We'd been ball number 8. So I think, who did we say that was going to be again? Was it St
Johnstone? Was it
St Johnstone away? I think that would have been who we would have played. Yeah. So certainly that wouldn't have been money spinner. But
you'd rather take the money for the league stuff than you would for the cup, though.
We'd have had a chance to get to the quarterfinals if it was St Johnstone away, right enough.
Yeah, well, that's true. But no, listen, I agree with both of these. I think and we actually said this on the last podcast. If you could guarantee winning one of them, it would have been the league game that I would have wanted to win. So, and we did.
Well, there we go. Let's see what you guys said about the cup game. Craig kicks us off, says, can we stop with the McKenna sub and leave McCann at left back when he's fit again? We were gash and got what we deserved, but to not start your 2 best players is another poaching managerial decision.
Well, is he talking about McCann? McCann was injured though. wasn't he?
Yeah.
Against he was.
Yeah. When he says McCann left back when he's fit again.
Right.
I mean, you didn't have very much options. Another coaching man. John's not made many coaching managerial decisions, so.
Not too many. Not too many. Danny says our first half performance was so abject that we were lucky to be in level at the break. Much better second half and looked like we'd gotten out of jail, but it wasn't to be. 3 poor performances on the bounce now, and something looks very wrong.
Well, it did look wrong at that point, but we'll get into the next game in a bit. Colin says Spencer had a poor game with Nesbitt and Tate, not much better. I actually agree. I don't think Brad Spencer and Dylan Tate have been a wee bit off the boil, not up to the standards I think they set for themselves and what we've seen from them as well. I thought the 3 of them were a bit off it. We need to see Yeats in to challenge them for places. Was impressed with Stuart. Some questions need addressing around the injuries, in my opinion. Well, I don't know what questions need addressing, but I completely agree with Colin at that point. Yeats is an interesting one because obviously we saw Finiesta against Celtic when he played almost in the Nesbitt 10 role and was outstanding that day, and it's just ever since that he's not really had a real look in back into the team, has he?
No, he's not at all, unfortunately. I like Finn. I think he's got something about him.
Yeah. He seems to be bottom of the pecking order almost. He seems to be below. Obviously you've got Gary Oliver can come on in 10, and we'll get on to it in a wee minute or soon. McKeever dropped back in there almost yesterday, but McKenna in front of him as well. But I don't see why you can't do the Tate or Spencer role for fresh legs to give these guys a rest, because they were looking tired the last few weeks, up until that point.
Yeah,
I would agree, and I think the other position that he made his own last year is obviously right back, and I you know how much a fan I am of Keelan Adams, but I don't think we could hand on heart say he's been amazing the last 4 or 5 weeks either. He had a better game yesterday, but prior to that, had he been dropped and Finn got a game, I don't think there would have been too many complaints.
Yeah.
Ian says we've been rubbish since before Christmas. I don't care about invincible season or look where we were crap that some people are coming out with. We need to realise that we need to pick up the pace again. Far too casual at the back in the first half.
Yeah, there wasn't enough going forward, and there wasn't against Spencer and Tate. I thought Scott Brown absolutely dominated that midfield. I was delighted when he went off because Scott Brown absolutely ragdolled that midfield. In the first half, absolutely boss. At that point, you were talking about, and again we'll get into the physical dominance in that midfield. When you have a Pittman or a Brown or a Martin in there against kind of Spencer and Tate, sometimes they'll just get bullied. They'll get bullied by a big bruiser like that midfield. I thought Scott Brown was good. He's again one of these players that you look at the other side and go, I'd love to have you at Falkirk. I think Scott Brown is an excellent footballer. Paul says, rubbish first half, lucky to go in level at half time. Morrison Miller made a difference went on. Overall, we didn't deserve to go through. We seemed to muck about at the back, leading to mistakes, making things difficult. Worth playing Barney and McKeever together? It's a very, very good question. And that happened yesterday. So yeah, that was the cup game. Not brilliant. I said earlier on we were in the commercial partners day, and it was quite funny. A lot of people had left because obviously, and me and Ross were kind of thinking, oh, should we just go? But I think it was a question of reading the room, because the management room might be coming up, and then obviously didn't because we were raging. So Colin, Brad, and Nicky came up. And they were doing this game. It was just like writing on a board, like who's the longest in the dressing room, or who will go on to be a manager. And they had to write down their teammates' players. I was just like, these guys cannot be fucked with that. And now can anyone here be fucked with it? It was just like, let's just ask them a couple of questions about the game and let's get down the roads, because you could just say, let's do this game. Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, you could sense that, could you? Yeah.
I know, but it wasn't great. However, we had the chance to make amends by travelling to Starks Park in the league and getting a result. And now I got a wee insight into the team. I got a message from one of my sources at the club saying, we're playing, he said, a 3-4-2-1. He says, "I will give you money, good money, if you can guess who's in the starting lineup." I was like, "Jesus, a 3-4-2-1." I'm like, "What is going on?" But what I guess you need to do something. You need to because we played that 4-3-3, and I think after the cup game and the last few performances, like, people have figured this out now. So it now appears we might have a plan B, certainly after the result. Ross, what did you make looking at that formation and looking at that lineup when it first came in?
I wasn't shocked that he'd changed situations, because obviously we had been so poor overall against Raith the week before, and I think had we rocked up with almost the same starting 11, the same way we were going to play, I think it would have been potentially another difficult day. But what he did do was he as you said, John, he's changed the formation, he's changed the personnel, he's given Raith something to think about that they hadn't planned for, because why would they plan for it? Because we have never played that way or in that formation in John McGlynn's time. And I just think for it completely caught everyone out by surprise, but in a very, very, very good way.
Yeah,
definitely something that we can look to do in the future. Like, we were discussing it when the teams came out and there was no left back there. Was it going to be Henderson or Miller, like the tweet that went up? However, the three at the back was suggested, but we absolutely thought we were mental even suggesting it under a John McGlynn regime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, I need to add something though. So
right.
Obviously, you're going to give me stick here because you always do when I talk about it, right? So obviously, John and I have a small bromance, right? So we were chatting last night. It was quite late as well.
Anyway, John had clearly had a few glasses of wine by this point.
Hopefully did. So we were chatting back and forth about yesterday, right? Now, this is a brilliant bit of insight for me as to why we played like we did. And I'm going to read you out, right? So there's always situations that will determine how we want to play and how we need to play. We needed to play like that today due to the surface being really poor. Also, the way Raith Rovers front three pressed us the week before. On a poor pitch, it would have been a disaster trying to build the game on. So we kicked long and didn't build from the back. So they had absolutely nothing to press. We tried to play the game in their half, which we did. We scored 2 and had chances to score 3 or 4. It builds confidence going into next week's game. There was more, but that's the verbatim about why he did what he did. And I just think he's played a blinder yesterday. He's played a blinder.
I think caught totally back Robson and Raith on the hop. Loved it.
There are 2 other teams in the league that are challenging that have played like that all season. I've not tried to play football for 1 minute, and I've played, I'm not going to say Route 1 because it wasn't, it was direct football up to the final third, and let's play it from there where the danger's away from our goal.
Spot on.
Yeah, and it was amazing. Obviously, Callum Miller, we know he's played that left wing back role for several clubs, and so I think he was quite comfortable there. But who was back? My boy was back. Tom Lang, absolute. Just, I think, and I put this in a message last night, I think what Tom brings to the side, and he's I would like to say the handsome Yogi Hughes, because what he does bring to the side is aggression and ball winning. He is, unlike Call and Hendo, who are big ball playing centre halves, Tom just goes through boys. He's not wanting to fanny about with this fancy passing and all this sort of stuff and dropping the shoulder and going past the guy, which I love, absolutely love when Hendo does that and Cole does that. But what I want in a centre half is just win the headers, win the tackles, and look like a handsome bastard while you do it as well. So I was delighted to see. There was a bounce game, I think, against Hearts, and in the preview to the match, John was saying how well Tom was playing. So I wasn't surprised when I got asked to guess the lineup, Tom was in that lineup, because I thought he would change up something. And Tom being in there, it allows Hendo and Donaldson to take, to carry the ball as well, because we both know that they're both great at getting forward with the ball as well. And, so it was great to see Tom back. What did you make of his performance, Ross?
I thought he was great. Yeah, no, he did. Potentially a shoe-in for Falkirk Daft rated, although I think there is someone that should get it over above everyone else. But I think from a playing perspective, I thought it was brilliant to see him back. It looked like he'd never missed a game in the last 10 months, and I thought it was phenomenal for all of the reasons that you said, John, and he just slotted so well in. And I think the back three actually worked very, very well for Tom to come back in that game.
Yeah, Owen, were you? I mean, just in terms of the formation and everything, you were happy with it?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that we're going to need to do something different against Raith. They tactically outfought us in the first game. The second game, being in the cup, being in the league, allowed us that change of formation, the change of attitude. It meant the triangles that John obviously talks about from the back, they were different. So they were filling up the pitch rather than at the back five as such across the way. They were now middle to front, looking to can you get the ball down. Fair enough, we weren't playing the passes as much, but the runs were still coming off it. The other consideration would have been, obviously, you just mentioned Tom going into centre back, which I think we all had, but was Hendel going to step into midfield and give us that physicality there? That could have been another different option that we used.
I wonder, and I've been talking about this since the Livi games. I wonder with Tom obviously playing well, being back fit, if they put Hendo in the midfield against Livingston. I think they might. I think he might think about that and try and have that physicality in midfield. We'll wait and see about that one. Aidan Nesbitt getting dropped was a bit of, I mean, I guess in that system, if you want to play Tate and Spencer, there is no room for Nesbitt, but I can't believe John dropped his favourite child. I couldn't get over that. Jesus. Aidan must have been just going, what are you talking with Gaffer? What?
Yeah, Gaffer, there seems to be an issue here.
I think you forgot my name on that team sheet, Gaffer. What's going on?
No, do you know what though? I think, and you hear every time Aidan Nesbitt's interviewed, he loves it here. He loves playing for the club. He loves playing for John McGlynn massively. And whenever he's not been in a starting lineup, whenever he comes on, he makes a nuisance of himself. He makes himself known. He puts himself about. That's what you get from Aidan Nesbitt. There's no huffiness of, oh, I've not started a game. He just wants to play. Yeah. And he wants to do it here. You can feel that and see it. And I just think, whether he's a starter or off the bench, Aidan Nesbitt's still a massive, massive part of our squad. Massive part.
Even during the warm-up, he was totally involved. He was kind of doing a lot of when it got to the shooting drills. He was kind of one of the ones leading it, as if he was assistant coach, since Smudger wasn't on the pitch.
That's a good shout, actually, because is he not doing coaching as well?
Yeah, he's got his own coaching. He's doing his coaching badge, and he's got his own kind of coaching set up.
Yeah,
with that YouTuber boy. I can't remember. The guy who was looking to get a club in your father's journey across the world. Yeah. It's not Sam, is it? Sam?
It's Sam. Is it Wardrobe?
Is it Sam Wardrobe? Yeah. I think he's good mates with him from Thames Celtic. So yeah, maybe that was maybe in the thinking as well. But Owen Wallace, we had a whole full chat before he came on about Callumn Morrison. Are you surprised that he wasn't on the bench?
Obviously not knowing what you've touched on too much. It was a bad situation in general. The players obviously been advised by somebody or felt that that he needs a new challenge. He signed a new contract last January, which was a big win for us at that point. He could have went for free in the summer. He signed a new contract. We're potentially going to get money from. He's been with the club for just over 5 years now. And if it wasn't for him in the last 2 seasons, we could be looking at a part-time team, hybrid team playing in League Two. Like, he's dragged us through the absolute dirt. I understand the timing's not great, and I think that's probably the worst part of the situation. But the individuals with the messages to him and on forums and chats, and especially some of the more threatening ones, is absolutely disgraceful. These people need to get back in their box, out the road. We don't want them anywhere near the club. However, as McGlynn said, it's maybe not the last time that he's played for us. McGlynn's done the right thing to take him out the firing line, give him that his head's probably not been in the right situation. So take him out the firing line, get a week's training, speak to him, get the boys round him. It's a close-knit club. Let's see what happens. And do you know what? If he goes January, we're going to get semi-decent money for him. If he goes in the summer, brilliant. Because do you know what? McGlynn's not going to let him disrupt that team. And if Morrison wants a big move, if he wants to go to a club in the Premiership or abroad or down south, he's going to need to earn it again. And Callumn Morrison, who's determined and looking to earn a big move, could get us onto that Wayne train and win us that league.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting to get your views on it, Owen. We talked about it awful lot at the start of the podcast. Back to the game. Early lead always helps, and Big Hendo not doing Big Hendo things. Back post Liam Henderson. He's always like that, but that's where Liam comes into his own at that back post, and a great header to get us into the lead, Ross.
It was.
It was a strange one. I thought, has he kicked that or has he headed it?
It was weird at the time because it was difficult to tell, but obviously we now know it was a really nice header. See, just taking it back to why it was a foul, because obviously you talked about Scott Brown being brilliant the week before.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I thought he unless you guys have got anything different, for me he's the dafty of the week, because not only did his silliness get did you see the foul so he was responsible for the foul. He then had he was almost going to throw the ball away, shouted at the ref, the arm movement. He should have been booked there for dissent. He was booked for dissent later on in the game. Same thing, same situation. Anyway, the ball comes in. Who's marking Hendo?
Scott Brown.
Fuck yeah.
Smashing. So 1-0, great start. I was working yesterday, but keeping a half eye on the game as well. If I was working, that's don't tell my bosses. But yeah, I was off to a great start, and we should have maybe went the set 2 up with the Ethan Ross chance. What do you think about that one, Owen?
It's a good opportunity. I felt as if again it was good play and nice knock on, and he felt it could have been more direct for me. He's good at it. He's got the pace. I think he should have definitely got the shot away and worked the keeper more.
That was my thought as well, Owen. I thought Ethan did well yesterday, but there was two situations in that first half. That was one of them. I thought make the keeper make a save or put it low and hard. The second one is, I think it was maybe just after this. Do you remember when he was running through and then you expect him to just smash it, and then I think he passed it to Alfie, and then Alfie had 4 bodies around him, so it was just kind of getting played out. But yeah, it's a big opportunity there.
I thought Alfie worked really hard for the team yesterday. I think he's been a wee bit off the boil, but I thought he worked really, really hard yesterday. He obviously had his chance for the cut inside, and it, I think it hit the post as well.
We got a corner, so it must have hit off Dubrovsky, but it could have hit off the post after. Sorry, it could have hit the keeper after the post. You're right, John.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I thought Alfie was a bit of a nuisance yesterday, and hopefully improve. Now he's probably going to be starting more regularly now. You just hopefully he can find that form and find a bit more consistency than what he normally, because now we all know Alfie. I think Alfie's brilliant as an impact player, because I think if you saw Alfie Agyeman coming off the bench, you go shit. If you're a left back, you just go, God, I've had to deal with Calvin Miller or Callum Morrison. Now I have to deal with Alfie Agyeman. I always think he's in it, but hopefully he can find consistency. I think his work rate is definitely improved as well. So he was great yesterday. Hendo got one off the line. Was it Dylan Easton as well? I think hit it. I wasn't too sure if it was Dylan Easton. The one that Hendo got off the line is
brilliant,
as well.
Brilliant reactions from Hendo there, because obviously Nicky came out, hadn't he? But yeah, brilliant reaction there from Big Hendo.
Big man, outstanding.
Shows his defensive awareness now as well, that he's able to cover that in.
Yeah,
he's definitely our player of the season so far. I don't know who else has been as consistent and as good as Hendo this season. I thought, but obviously Brad Spencer had a good shout, but I think he's tailed off. Him and Dylan have tailed off a wee bit. I think, but Henderson's levels have just been
He's been 10 out of 10 every single game.
He's been consistently brilliant. Absolutely love the big guy. I keep going on about that. And then Dylan Easton, obviously, hit the par with a free kick. Honestly, I'm so happy that he didn't score with that. Jeez, I hate him.
He is a wee dick, isn't he?
He's just a wee dick.
Annoying.
But he did. I mean, again, if he signed for Falkirk, I love that guy.
I'm going to say I wouldn't have him, John. I wouldn't.
Would you not have him?
No. I know he's got a lot of skill, right? But do you want a cheating wee shite like that in the team? I don't know if I do. I don't know.
We had this conversation. What's his influence? I can't see him being a good influence in a dressing room.
No, I don't think so either.
No, I was doing a bit of investigating this week, and a few of my sources basically said he's a wee fanny. So I'll tell you off air. I don't think I could tell you on air who those sources were and the stories that proved he's a wee fanny. I'll tell you off air though, Ross. But yeah, he missed, so that was great news for hitting the bar. However, we come out the second half, and we managed to get a goal. It was just I was like, is that a goal? It was a strange one, wasn't it?
I was so chuffed for Ross McKeever because the timing of him hitting it was perfect, because the keeper hadn't settled himself at all. And actually, see, the more you watch it back, Dabrowski trying to save it is just as hilarious.
I know, it was really strange. See, as my goalkeeper, like, what are you doing? It was really strange. I was like, because I saw it, I thought it was like the referee had blown his whistle, and then that's why. Because I had it on silent, I was watching it on silent and without any commentary, and then I was like, is that a goal? It was very strange. But Scott Brown making the mistake, you said as well, Ross.
Yeah, I think it was, and obviously the header coming out. But what a finish by Big Ross! I know he needed that. I think as well.
He needed that.
He did well. It was starting to tire. I just said it was starting to tire. It was starting to look he'd worked so hard. Like the full team had worked so hard in that first half. They came out in the middle of the second half, and he's connected with it well. And the keeper's pretty much dived past the ball by the time that he's been able to set himself. So.
Yeah, totally agree. That was honestly, I just think the timing is what made the goal, because had even just 3-4 seconds later, I think Dabrowski would have been in a different position as to where he was, and he might have tracked back a bit, whereas Ross just knew, I'm just going to hit this before he gets a chance to settle. Bang, into the net, limbs behind the goals. And can I just shout out as well, if you watch it back, people were talking about it on Pie and Bovril, when you watch it back, there's a couple, an older, I don't want to say older, but middle-aged couple, and the husband and wife, I'm going to assume, and they're running like to go towards Ross McKeever at the front, but the guy slips, right, and obviously falls, but the wife just looks round and then just continues running down Ross McKeever. She was like, I don't give a shit.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I thought I was actually kind of hoping that, but if we had been playing our normal way, I was actually hoping that Barney would have started. But I can see, I understand if we were playing, with that formation, why Ross would be really effective. What do you make of his performance overall, Owen?
Yeah, looking over, like, obviously that game individually, he worked so much harder. He wins every flick on, challenges, puts defenders off. It's what you need. I get that he doesn't score as many out and out goals as what some people would want from the centre forward, but it's definitely, he brings everybody else into play. He's got so many attributes there that you can see that McGlynn's worked with and developed. And I definitely think there's going to be a lot of credit going there as well.
Yeah. Barney did come off the bench, however. Now, am I right in saying, and I think it looked like it, we played a 4-4-2. Yes.
Certainly looked like it, yeah.
Keep it retro. I fucking love a 4-4-2. Get the ball up to the big boys. Get out to the wings, get the crosses out of the box, boom.
Big Barney he had a one.
I know, I was gutted. Obviously, again, and this is what I like about Barney, he can get behind boys, he's got pace as well. Ross, get the ball, he'll look for the ball, he'll look for the flick-ons in behind. But Barney, you can get the ball in behind for Barney. We saw that as well when he went one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Again, Dubravka is, I think, he's the best goalkeeper in this division, and he dealt with that really well.
John, no.
I would say Dubravka's the best goalie in the division. I love Nicky. I think Nicky's very close behind him, and
I think Dubrovski's third or fourth. I think Nicky's better than him. I think the Queen's Park goalie's better than
Callum Ferry. To be fair, I forgot about Callum Ferry. He's a very good goalkeeper as well. Actually,
the rest are probably much of a muchness, but I think overall. Do you know what the issue I've seen with Dubrovski? Now, granted, I only see.
Are we going? Is it Dubravka? Is it Dubravka?
Is it Dubrovski?
Is Dubrovski? Why do I keep saying Dubravka?
I don't know. You're just making shit up as you go. I think he's a bit of a show pony. I think he thinks he's a brilliant keeper, and I'm not saying but when you watch Raith fans' criticism as well, his distribution's shocking and his decision making shocking, right? We don't have that same critique. No,
Nicky.
So I think Nicky's better than, but I think the
all right, you've won me over.
I think the boy at Queen's Park's better than as well.
Callum Ferry's, yeah.
Dubrovski's a great shot stopper. However, as you're saying, commanding his area and his kicking is hopeless. But getting in the roadie shots, apart from
he's a good shot stopper. Yeah, he's good shots. Yeah. We're one conversation away from John calling him like Dubrovski or something else. You dance.
But it was good. I think overall, though, once we got the 2-0 out, we managed the game really, really well. I thought they were excellent at managing the game out and seeing that like nothing too silly, just deal with it. And like you say, it was very much un-Falkirk like in the way we played, and we got a result because, you know, smashing the ball up front and not letting Raith Rovers to press us worked really, really well. And a 4-4-2, I'm here for it. Absolutely here for it.
It's the most professional game that I've seen Falkirk play in a long time.
Yeah, professional's a great word for it.
Streetwise,
yeah,
it's something that we've not as much as we've been winning, we've never really had to dig in and grind out like any result as such. I felt as if that was a different style, totally different style of play, and it was a work ethic and a hard work, closing men down. Do you know what we did? We took our time with some things, but again, we speeded it back up when we had to, and just kept on manipulating the game in our favour. And these, again, sometimes with the route one football into the corners, like towards for to kill the time and for it to reset. Sometimes you need to do that. You can't play passes 3-4 minutes towards the end of the game when you're still a lot of pressure on top of us. So the guys definitely is probably the most professional in a long, long time.
Is this our plan B, Ross Wayne? Because the one thing we've said about John McGlynn all the time he's been at Falkirk is that 4-3-3, that's his plan. We changed it sometimes in the first season going to that diamond. Is this, however, have we found a plan B to deal with teams like Livingston and
I think I'm probably now, based on John's comments, I think what he's saying there is when he has to mix it up, he'll do it. That's what I've taken from that conversation, is that
John friend.
Yeah, football friend. I think he'll mix it up when he needs to. What I would say though is on Friday night we are back in our own place. We will have 6,500 Falkirk fans in there. The pitch is far, far better than what we would have played on yesterday. Do I expect us to play exactly the same as how we did against Raith? No, I don't think we will. But some of the personnel, I think, will be utilised in a certain way.
That was going to be my next question. Do you go back then to the 4-3-3, Owen, on Friday night?
I think you've got to on our pitch. I think with the fans, the personnel, I think you've got to. Okay. It gives you you're saying you've got plan B and plan C with Barney up front with McKeever. It gives you another option, and it's another one that, do you know what? If Spencer and Tate can up their game back to the levels we know they can, and then you've got the two wider players there, they could be playing the balls into Barney and McKeever more often.
Yeah.
Again, if not, you can always take Tate out or Spencer out to rest them and get Yates, get the legs in there that's going to cover every inch of that pitch.
We're going to talk to
options.
Going to talk to Livingston supporter Stuart Barrie, who we've spoke to a couple of times this season about the game. But looking ahead to that Livingston game, before we get into John McGlynn and your views on yesterday's game, what's your team then for Friday? For me, I bring Leon back in at left back. Or maybe Sean, actually. It's Livingston, isn't it? But Sean had a shocker against it. Maybe Sean then, because it's Livingston. Adams at the back. You then play Lang and Donaldson at centre halves. And you put Hendo into midfield and you sacrifice either Tate or Spencer. And there you bring Nesbitt back in. And then you have Miller out on the right. You have Ethan Ross out on the left. And you have Ross in the middle. Or potentially Barney. What would you go for, Ross? Would you have Hendo? I think against Livingston, putting Hendo into midfield, and I've been an advocate of this.
I'm not. I think we need to win the midfield battle. So I think whatever that looks like, because it's not worked so far against Livingston in the midfield. So I do think we need to try something different against them. That could well be it. I disagree with Mackie. I'd play Leon still at left back. I know Livingston are a big unit, but
Leon did really. I thought Leon was at Livingston. I actually thought Leon dealt with it pretty well. Owen,
yeah. I was going to say the opposite. I didn't think he had his greatest game at Livingston away. I thought he was kind of caught in the ball quite a lot. The players were on top of him. But again, we could go into. You're right about the midfield battle. It's absolutely going to be critical. So this could be his opportunity to stick with the three at the back, the three we've played, and get the bodies in the middle of the pitch, like rather than having the kind of three forward-thinking players, having the two of them up there and drop one extra body into the middle of the pitch, and let's just kind of crowd it. We know ourselves we can play in tight spaces if we need to in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
So potentially sacrifice one of the forward players, with keeping the two winger, like two wide players, and then having three in the middle of the park there.
Yeah,
it's must win. It's must win for me on Friday night.
It is. It's huge. Like we've said before, 3 huge home games to come. Listen, let's see. We talked about it earlier on. Let's hear what John McGlynn had to say after the match yesterday, and he was quite emotional.
John, it's been a bit of a difficult week for the club. How much does a win like this give everyone a boost after last week?
Yeah, a huge boost. Massive thank you to the fans today. They were incredible. They were in different class, absolutely different class. The whole game, singing, chanting, giving the players so much support. Thank you. So much. Great moments at the end of the game when Paul came across and you're singing his name. So huge thanks for that. Difficult week, but the rewards for the energy that we put into the game today, we changed completely today. We learnt so much from last week, and we knew coming on a pitch it's not really conducive to playing football that there wasn't much point trying to do that. So we changed. It's not something we're going to do every week. It might be the last time we do it. Who knows? But for the order of the day, it worked. We got a goal for a set play, and Ross has had a great shot, capitalising on a sort of an individual moment where the ball's landed at his feet and he's went for it when the goalkeeper was struggling to get back. So delighted for everyone involved in the team, the goal scorers, particularly. But the work rate of the whole team was different class, and obviously great to have Tom Lang back in the team, being out since March or sometime like that last year. So absolutely delighted he came back in. Played in a back three, back five, what we want to call it, and I thought he was different class. He gets the balls that others just didn't get to. He's just there. He just gives everything to every situation. Go and head it, go and kick it, he'll make tackles. He's just so full-blooded in everything that he does. Of course, it's a good clean sheet for the whole team. The whole team worked very, very hard for that. Hendo's good at left centre back, Cole equally, and then our wing backs worked so hard. Calvin Miller I thought was different class. So good going down that left hand side. And then Brad and Dylan again worked the socks off. It wasn't the style we would normally play for them. It's a bit alien to them, but it was something that had to be done. And similarly, the work rate, Ethan Ross, Calvin Miller, Alfie Agyeman and Ross McKeever, absolutely different class. So delighted with the win. 3 draws in a row, so we had to get back to winning ways. it was always going to be hard work. We had to roll the sleeves up today regardless, and we did that, and we're delighted to get that win, and it keeps us obviously at the top of the table.
We've talked before a couple times this season about the team's ability to bounce back, and you probably couldn't ask for much more than that with a performance like that. Like you said, changed it up a bit, and despite the changes, the team looked like they were really, really on it today.
They were well up for it, yeah, absolutely. The situations, Smudger's illness, players will want to do it for him.
You mentioned obviously Tom Lang coming in and his ability and what he can do. Looking at his performance today, you wouldn't think he'd been out for so long.
No, you wouldn't. No, he was so good. No, he was so good. You can rely on Tom. You can put your mortgage on Tom. He's going to deliver. He's going to deliver, absolutely. So yeah, good.
There you go. Quite emotional, Mr. McGlynn there. You can see when he was asked about. You can obviously, and I think Steve McGinn said when we heard his chat on BBC that his best mate, when your best mate goes through a health condition, his life's under threat, you're going to, they work day in, day out with each other, they probably see each other more than they see their wives. Do you know what I mean? And when you've got that connection with someone, you're really going to feel it, and you can tell John, he kind of looked away as if he was about to cry, but great to see, and great to hear from, and delighted obviously. And the icing on the cake was obviously Smudger coming over to the support at the end. I didn't think he would be there. But it was. And then the chance that he got as well, Ross, incredible.
Phenomenal. And it just shows the camaraderie between the players, management and the fans is rock hard. And so emotional for Paul, so emotional for everyone else. The banner was a brilliant touch at the beginning. We never talked about that with the ultras, with our Get Well Soon Paul banner as well. So really nice touch there too. But yeah, I'm glad yesterday went the way it did for everybody.
Yeah, and we needed it. So great win, massive win. And as you said, we'd have taken the league win over the cup win any day of the week as well. And it was back to winning ways, and a convincing performance as well. A different performance, but I would say a convincing one, in a way at Starks Park, now into 3 huge home games. Let's see what you guys had to say about the match. Chris kicks us off saying, was that the fabled plan B? Tam Lang is a fucking hero. That was for Smudger. I agree with all of that. But that plan B, I like that as a plan B. And like I say, playing the 3, with Tam in that middle role, with Hendo and Donaldson either side, I think defensively you're sound. And we know Callum Miller can play that left wing back row as well. It gets him into the team alongside Ross and Aguiman as well.
That's very true. Yep, he's played there a few times before for other teams too. Yeah, Morton. Inge says, what a fucking team. Dylan Easton, however, must have nudes of the officials. How he avoids bookings is beyond me. However, Paul Smith at the end. Wow.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dell, industrial, hard-working win. Not pretty, but hard work, and the rewards came from that. Great to see Tam back. Outstanding. Callum Miller was immense too. Result of the day by far was Smudger making his appearance, however.
Indeed. Craig says, tremendous Plan B performance from the team who can only play one way. Brilliant to see Smudger and all the players with beaming smiles at the end. Who wouldn't want to be a part of this?
I wonder. And Random Falkirk fan finishes off saying, change of tactics worked a treat, totally different from the last few weeks. Silence Raith the whole game and scored when it mattered. Next 3 are big games for the league. Good to see Smudger at the end. There's only one Paul Smith.
Indeed. Young Bairns says, McGlynn and the players have handled this week perfectly. Squad has no time for little bitches and rallied together after a few difficult weeks. Hopefully we can punt Morrison and move on.
And finally, Boney Yonks says, Tam Lang, that's it. Just Tam Lang. Brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to take the 2 weeks, we're going to take the full week into consideration here for the Falkirk Daft Rated and Falkirk Daft Day. Ross Wayne, who is Falkirk Daft Rated?
1 Paul Smith. 1 for surviving last Sunday and 2 for seeing him yesterday. Phenomenal.
I don't think I'm going to argue against that, even though Tom Lang is back inside.
Tom
You
Lang
realise this as well, yeah.
He was a good second.
Right, I tell you what, Paul Smith, honorary. I'm going to put that in the notes. Honorary for surviving a heart attack. Honorary, and then Tom Lang, everyone? Or have we got someone else, Owen?
Hendo for me. Lang was phenomenal, don't get me wrong. Lang coming back from being out for
Hendo did play the 2 games as well.
Hendo slipping into another unusual position for him. He was absolutely on top of everything. He got the goal to start us off.
Yeah.
Work rate again from him. But I've no argument with Lang on the second game, but it would need to be, for me, Hendo or Hogarth potentially in the first game as well. Hogarth
was phenomenal against Raith in the first game, wasn't he? Kept the score down.
He was. He had a lot of good saves. Hendo, though, I think, over the course of the 2 games, getting the goal, Liam Henderson. Sorry, Tom. I was outvoted. Who is our daft of the week? Only one guy, and I think he's been nominated for it before, and I think it's just going to be the second nomination as well. Dylan Easton, anyone?
Dylan Easton.
Happy with that, yeah.
Right, okay, that's the second dafty of the season for Dylan Easton. I'm sure we'll get more as the season goes as well, because he's a wee fanny. Right, okay.
Honorary one to Callumn Morrison for his time in handing in the transfer request.
Yeah, sorry, Cal. Sorry.
Yep, it's a very true one.
Yeah, Callumn Morrison, honorary dafty as well. He's one of the few people that appears on both lists as well. There we go. So Callumn Morrison, honorary dafty. There we go. Right, okay. That is a bow tied on the 2 matches. But before we let you go in, it is time for Falkirk Daft Versus. And you'll be taking off Ross Wayne this week. The scores currently, I believe, is 16-3 to us, Ross. Is that right? Or is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, 16-3, I think.
16-3 after a very confident win from me on the last time around. So you're going to be facing Ross. I've got the questions. 5 questions on Falkirk. Penalty shootout still. And we'll go against each other. I have to admit, I wrote these while I was walking the dog today, and I'm 1 question short. So I will get a question off the top of my head, because I've got such Falkirk knowledge, I can just do this on a whim.
I bet you the question's wrong.
The question will be undoubtedly the wrong answer that I'll have for it, but we'll see how we go. Hey, okay then. Ross against Owen. Ross, you're going to write down your answer.
I am, however, in the absence of having something to write down, I'm going to go you and Cameron on your other podcast and write it down on my phone.
Right.
I don't have anything else to write it on.
Smashing. Okay, we'll go with that then. Right, first question up is Callumn Morrison joined us after leaving which club? Callumn Morrison joined us after leaving which club? Ross, write down your answer. Tell me when you've got it. And then I'll get your answer in a minute, Owen.
Okay, got it written down.
Owen, what are you saying here?
We go with Hearts.
Hearts is your answer. Ross?
Hearts as well.
1-1. There we go. Nice and easy to start off with. Okay, next question. What nationality is Alfie Agyeman? I've made these too easy this week.
Okay, I've got some written down.
Right.
The spelling count for you, Ross, this one.
No, you're fine.
What are you going for, Owen?
Ghanaian.
Ghanaian. Ross?
I didn't even attempt. I just said he's from Ghana.
Fine. 2-2. Right, next question. Who succeeded John Lambie as manager? Who succeeded?
Wait, talking temporary manager.
No, full-time manager. Who succeeded John Lambie as manager? I think the other answer would have been Jerry Collins, I think. Who passed away recently, sad to hear.
Do you know, it was Jerry Collins, and do you remember our ex-fullback at the time from Rangers, Stuart Munro?
Yeah.
That was who took the team.
But that's not the question I'm asking.
No, that's true. So it was who permanently took over after John Lambie was sacked.
Yeah.
Right.
Write down your answer.
Okay, I've got something written down.
Okay.
I hope I'm not missing something in my head, but that's fine.
Right. Owen?
I'm out this one. I genuinely have got a mind blank.
So I went with Eamon Bannon.
Bannon.
And it is 3-2 to Ross.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Reasons about that one.
Next one is question number 4, and it's a who am I?
Oh,
So,
hate these.
you hate these ones, do you? Alright, okay. Well, who am I, right? I joined Falkirk in 2004 and won the league and the Challenge Cup with them. I now work as a pundit in Australia. Who am I? I joined Falkirk in 2004, winning both the league and the Challenge Cup with them. I am now a pundit in Australia. Who am I? When you struggling?
Ross. I think
you got it. You've got it. Ross looks like he's struggling, mind you.
I'm just going to have to take a guess. So he won the league and the Challenge Cup with us.
Yeah.
Right. That's a guess. No idea. And I'm right. Okay. This is the only reason I'm going with this because of where he said he's working.
Oh, I think you got this. Right. Okay, Ross. What have you got for?
I went for Danny
McBreen.
Danny McBreen. Both got it right.
I was struggling there though, because I was genuinely struggling. I was working my way through the team.
4-3 comes down to the last question. You're playing here for the tie break, Owen. Ross, you are playing for the win on this question. And the question is, in what season did Falkirk last win the Challenge Cup? In what season did Falkirk last win the Challenge Cup?
So you won the season rather than the year?
I'll accept both the season or the year. Whatever is suitable for you. So you write down your answer. Ross, Owen, I'll come to you after Ross is written. Are you writing it down yet, Ross?
Just finishing it. Right, I've got some written down.
Right. Owen, what season?
Stab in the dark. 2013.
2013. Ross, what you went for?
I went for 2012-13.
You are both wrong. It was 2011-2012, 1-0 against Hamilton Accies, which means, however, Ross Wayne wins for Falkirk Daft. Play the music.
Thanks, everyone.
Sorry, Owen. Sorry. So that's 17-3 for Falkirk Daft. Now, can anyone touch us, Ross? Can anyone touch us?
Don't know.
I know.
It's been tough.
It's been tough. Owen, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast this week. Really appreciate your time. Fingers crossed we can, go on to win the next 3, and we'll definitely have to get you on another time.
Right, guys. Thank you for having me.
Brilliant. Okay, and if you want to be a guest pundit, we're now getting people signed up for next season. Pundit at falkirkdaft.co.uk or slide into our DMs or Twitter or Facebook like a long lost lover.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall, we're navy blue. Are you?
The next game is huge. It's against Livingston. It's under the disco lights on Friday night at the Falkirk Stadium, live on the television for the rest of the nation. The box office Bairns. I think we've had like 20 odd games on the telly in the last.
I think it's going to be 26 or 27.
Jesus. That's
2.5 years. Yeah,
I know, that's crazy. And as ever, when we talk Livingston, we speak to our only Livingston fan that we know. It is Stuart Barrie, my former gaffer and former colleague at many radio stations. How are you doing, Stuart?
Yeah, fine, John. Thank you. Nice to see you, Ross. Face for radio, John. Both of us. I think that's safe.
Absolutely. Listen. You can say that, Stuart. I think I'm turning into a silver fox. That's what I would like to consider myself as now. Just maturing like a fine wine.
Well, silver fox roadkill, maybe. That's maybe a bit.
Stuart, good to have you back on the podcast. Since we kind of last spoke, which was obviously when we came to Amon Vale, and I joined you for a pint before the match, and obviously we walked away with no points that day. One of the few league defeats we've had this season. How have Livingston been? You went through a bit of a sticky patch recently.
I think it's fair to say we've had a mid-season wobble. You know, other clubs go to Dubai and have a wobble. We just get Christmas and have a wobble. So we've lost 3 away, mostly away games, and 1 game to Ayr, and I have to say that was a really competitive game. So we've not been at our best. However, since the 3 league defeats on the trot, we obviously won against Hamilton yesterday, a convincing win I would add, and we beat Ross County, although, you know, from what I understand, you know, we were the better team, and Ross County probably not much between the top 4 or 5 in the Championship and the bottom 5 in the Premier Leagues. And Ross County won the Premier League standard, so we came away with the win, which is nice. Have you guys got in the Scottish Cup?
We've decided to play a league game that day, Stuart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Extended our lead at the top that day.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's actually surprisingly, obviously, you had that stutter. We've kind of obviously had a bit of a kind of mid-season stutter as well, with the dropping the points at Dunfermline, drawn against Queen's Park as well at the stadium. So I'm just looking at the table just now, Stuart. I thought we actually had a bigger gap than we do, but we've got a game in hand, which is against Airdrie. What about that yesterday? Airdrie beating Dunfermline.
Phenomenal result.
By the way, I'm not surprised at that. We played them a couple of weeks ago, and they were really good. They really gave us a game, and at that point you could see, as we always say, every team can beat every team in this league. It's really competitive.
Yeah,
you could see Airdrie's kind of turned a corner. I wouldn't say we were lucky, but we had to work really hard to win that. I thought we were going to go down and canter it, but we didn't.
Yeah, well, at the moment it's 4 points between Falkirk and Livingston, so it's a massive match for both sides come Friday. Stuart, we talked about your mid-season starter, Davy Martindale, having a bit of a go at the supporters. Certainly after the Queen's Park game, he came out a bit feisty. How's that went down?
Yeah, it was feisty. Can you remember years ago in the 80s when Gordon Strachan scored against Germany? He couldn't get his leg over the sideboard.
Aye.
A bit like that with Davy. He was trying to get his leg over the sideboard and go in. Davy says he was going to talk to the fans that were giving him abuse behind him, but the fact that 2 security guards held him back maybe tells you a wee bit more about the intent. Actually, this is it's a really strange one, because fans are allowed to disagree with the team, the manager, and they're allowed to voice their opinion. I have to say, Davy gets dog's abuse and doesn't deserve it. I mean, you don't go to Tesco and shout at somebody for their performance when they're on the till. You don't shout at somebody that's working in a garage or something. But what gives us that bit where we can shout at football managers and just abuse them? And Davy, you can imagine he's no shrinking violet. He does turn around and, we'll say, comment to the fans. But one of the things I think he did really well outside of that is he's offered any fan that has got a problem with him to come into the office and have a chat about what's going wrong and how it is.
I would love to. Has anyone taken him up on that offer? I thought you were going to actually finish that sentence with, he's offered any fan a square goal.
Well, you know, it might come with that, no. But I think that's good that he'll talk about it, and he will. And what Davy would be better to do, because he does get very emotional during games, and if you can take that emotion out, and that's part of what fires him up, and talk to the fans, I think he can win a lot more people over. But he doesn't. He argues back and he shouts back. But at the same point, I would say a lot of the abuse, which I can hear from my seat, is unwarranted. It's really strong, and it's hard not to react to it. So I can see that there. But fans are entitled to voice their opinions, but there's a time and place for some of the stuff that's said.
Yeah, Macaulay Tate and Robbie Fraser have come in on loan from Hearts and Rangers respectively. I don't know, did they get run out yesterday, Stuart?
They did. Fraser's had 2 games, actually scored a goal already, I think.
Yeah, I remember that was in the Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really good, and it was against Airdrie, and I think the last game for Rangers he came on as a sub against Celtic, and then he steps up to play with us, so that must be a bit of a culture shock, isn't it? 50,000 at Ibrox then coming to our stadium. But he's been excellent. He is a player. He's physical. He's got great technique, and he's fast. And it's that, you know, he just bombs up and down the wings all day. Who's on your right side? Do you think we might get some opportunities there? Because he's going to be a threat.
I'll be Keelan Adams. I'll be Keelan Adams, and then on the right. Yeah, well, I thought is Robbie Fraser is he more of a wing back than Stuart? Is he getting played in that role, or is he getting played as a winger?
He's a left back that's really athletic and goes forward. And
Yeah.
we played as somebody who had a great game against you guys before, Christian Montano.
Yes.
So we had a great attacking threat because even when Robbie was going forward, Christian was there, and I thought that they were building a really good relationship. Christian came off a wee bit early, but I thought our left side would look really strong. He's good defensively, but can run all day. Dare I say it? And there's a wee bit of the Andy Robertsons about him as well. He's similar traits, and I enjoyed watching him already. Early days for Tate. He had a game yesterday. Quite a physical game yesterday, as you'd expect, and he got stuck in, but maybe needs a couple more games to get up. You can tell he's a wee bit rusty at competitive level. He's not been playing regularly in the first team, so he's probably playing reserve games, which don't have the same intensity. And yesterday's game had a lot of intensity, but hopefully it'll come good because he's had a few appearances for Hearts, so they must see a player in there.
It feels like two sort of solid additions then in the January window, then, Stuart, for the pair of them.
Yeah, but and the counter to that as well, where we're slightly concerned, is we also let Andy Winter go. I think he's away to our growth, and he was our backup striker. Yeah, so we've not got much up front. And Stevie May, he had a good game yesterday doing Stevie May things, like running around, closing down, some excellent touches, bringing people in, and also that Stevie May thing of not really scoring, which is really, really a drawback when you're a striker. So we need goals. Where we might get goals, Big Tete Yengi, who had an absolute worldie against Falkirk the last time. He's had a wee bit of a run of form, but he was in the stands yesterday. So I don't know if he was being rested, but he's been in the stands the last couple of games. So something telling me he's got an injury, but I think the sight of Big Tete on the field maybe.
Has he not even been in the squad, Stuart? He's been
not even made the bench. He's been in the stands because I sat directly behind him.
How do you see above him, Stuart?
Well, I did lean over and did say to him, "How are you finding the Scottish winters, Teddy?" And he just went, "Fucking freezing." He had all these layers on. He was sitting there. You could just see this Australian boy just going, "What am I doing here?"
It was still a cracking goal he scored when we went to your place. No, just looking at his only actually, I was looking at your goal scorers for this season, and probably like us, like the goals can be spread out throughout the team. Stevie May, your top goal scorer on 5. Tete Yengi, surprisingly, a player that I think is a really good player in this division, has only got 2 as well.
Yeah, he's been in and out of the team though. Some injuries, suspension in there as well. And if you remember right, he had a big fight with Davey back in the early part of the season. So he was joining the queue of the fans sitting abusing Davey in the back.
Aye. A player, and I'm really hoping you're going to tell me he's injured. Scott Pittman is a player that I think is probably one of the best midfielders in the division. Is he injured?
Scott Pittman, player of the season for us, was absolutely outstanding yesterday.
Damn it.
Muirhead got the man of the match or player of the match for his fantastic goal, and he was good. But Pittman was box to box, creating, shutting down. For a guy who's in his 30s, and he's a record appearance guy, he's no spring chicken. His engine was brilliant, and he was brilliant yesterday. And there was just moments going, he just popped up, created lots, defended, ran all day. That bit of that Forrest Gump that just keeps running. And he was sensational yesterday. And he has been playing at that level pretty much all season. He's a constant 8 every week.
Yeah. I am always really impressed, but I'm just hoping we can break his kind of dominance in midfield, because I think in the 2 games we've faced you, he's kind of ran the midfield, really.
I think the midfield, we've just talked about it on our sort of review of yesterday, Stuart, and I think looking ahead to Livi, I think the midfield is where we need to do far, far better, because we lost the midfield battle both games so far, and it has been to our detriment. So if we have any chance of winning on Friday night, I think it will involve us having a really strong sort of midfield and winning that battle as well, because it is a battle. It has been 2 strong games so far.
That's what we do well when it comes to the battle. We're good at winning the battle and then playing afterwards. So you guys will have to go well, and we have got quite a competitive, maybe sound a wee bit strong, but we've got a good midfield with good legs that run and close down, and I don't think there's too much between the teams. I think both defences are really strong. Midfield it's probably where we can get a slight advantage and try and get forward as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be won and lost in midfield. I mean, both teams. McGowan and Nottingham at the back are very solid.
Nottingham's out the team now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, Nottingham's out the team because Danny Wilson's come back.
Of course, Danny Wilson. I forgot you'd signed Danny Wilson. Yeah.
He had a solid game yesterday, but I have to say, he's been injured and missed quite a bit of the season, suspended as well. He hasn't been as good as I hoped he would be because he comes with a big reputation, so your expectations are really high.
Yeah,
I think he's had a stuttering start to his Livi career, but if there's any time to have a really good first-class performance, it's on the telly Friday night against Falkirk, so here's hoping he can regain some of his form.
I'm surprised not. I mean, obviously with Nottingham, he brings you that big physical presence in at set pieces as well. I'm surprised Davy, of all people's dropped him out the side with the way he's play.
Well, Davy plays the centre halves at right back just to.
I saw that recently. Nottingham was playing it right back. I'm like, what are you doing?
And it's even better when Nottingham goes forward. You're just like, what's he doing? And charging down the wing.
Just does it look right? It's that way. He's this big, huge guy just trying to get up the wing.
Puts his Ben Alexander top on and runs down the wing. He'll play diagonals to no one.
Brilliant. Right, Stuart, you're making it along on Friday, I believe. So what do you think the score's going to be?
I don't get along to many games, but this one has, just like the last time, has a big game feel about it.
Yeah.
Days before it, you're thinking about it. That build up, and it starts now. And one of the guys I go to the gym with, he's kind of the game with me, Lee. And he's not even a Livi fan, but he knows this is a big game and he wants to come along and just kind of see it. So we're up one fan. Brilliant. We might not let him go, hold him hostage. But I think this game, I was confident I'd win the last time. And, I think our players' attitudes and Davies' wiliness, and, you've got a fantastic manager in McGlynn as well. But I think Davies' nonce and the way that, Davies' attitude and approach will get the best out of our players, and that combative physicalness will help win us the game.
Yeah. 1-0 for Livi from Stuart. Ross?
Anyone will do, if I'm being honest, John. Genuinely, I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals on Friday night either. I think it'll be similar to the last couple of games. I'm going to go the same scoreline with Stuart, but obviously 1-0 Falkirk.
Yeah, I think I'm going to join you on that same scoreline, gents. It's either going to be 0-0 or 1-0 to someone, I think. It's just going to be a really tight game. That midfield battle I feel is really important. We should have won the game at the stadium the last time. Livi played us really well, as they did. But I think over the course of both games we've seen, there's been very few chances. It's been an absolute chess game. I thought that actually the 0-0 draw at the stadium was a really entertaining 0-0 draw because it was just very smart. Both managers try to feel each other out. So I fully expect both John and Davy to do the same again and try and outthink each other, and it'll either be 0-0 or we'll sneak it by a goal. But I'm going to go for obviously Bairns to sneak it by a goal on Friday. But I think it'll be interesting. I think entertaining's not the word you'd use for a Falkirk versus Livingston match. I think interesting will be
intriguing. Yes.
I think it'll be really interesting to see how the teams match up against each other. And it will be a battle of the minds between Davy and John. So, I'm looking forward to it on Friday. And under the disco lights, Stuart, you'll be enjoying that. Get some. We have a wee dance in the stand, maybe.
I look forward to the many fingers of Falkirk switching the lights off and on and pretending they've got Celtic's old lights. So that'll be interesting. And just on the managers, I only heard yesterday about Paul Smith having some heart problems. So
yeah.
It was great to hear John McGlynn saying he was on the mend and he was actually healthier than he was the previous.
Yeah. Back at work on Monday.
Incredible, and it is a worry. And fair play to the guy if he's coming back to work. And
yeah,
you don't want to say. I hope there's enough that raises all our heart rates, but he keeps all right. We might need to keep him out the back or something like that.
I know. That's what I was saying. Usually, in one of these, when you have a heart issue, they'll say just remove yourself from stressful situations. Falkirk versus Livingston on Friday night. I would go out there as being a very stressful situation.
Why go on the telly? If you guys win, you look a big lead that's maybe even unassailable, and if you don't win, then you're right back into the pack. So big pressure all round. So here's hoping he. Glad he's well and hope he's recovering well too.
Thanks, Stuart. We appreciate that sentiment. And Stuart Barrie joins us on Falkirk Daft. Thank you very much for coming on, and we will see you probably in a few months' time.
See you soon, and it'll be nice because by that time we'll be ahead of you guys. So it'll be nice to kind of talk about how you might catch up.
This is Falkirk Daft
with Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
And that is just about a bow tied on this week's episode. An absolute epic episode. 2 games and the Callumn Morrison situation, which we had to discuss today. So it's been an absolute epic. So you're probably getting to this point of the podcast and going, Jesus, I wish these two would shut up now. But before we go, we need to do the Dan Turner Roll of Honour. So thank you very much to everyone that got in touch at this point of the podcast where we throw out a random Falkirk player and it proves that you've reached this point of the podcast. So Michael, Dougie, Elsa, Joe, Phil, Paul, Lauren, Dave, John, Paul, Grant, Dale, Archie, James and PJM all make the Dan Turner Roll of Honour. And I said earlier on the podcast, and I'll let everyone into a little secret if you don't get to this point in the podcast, today's player is Daniel Marqueta. And it wasn't Red Star Belgrade he signed from, it was Partizan Belgrade.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just reading. Head of Football Development Ross Wilson said of the striker, we have negotiated a package which allows the player to join us initially for the season ahead, but we have also negotiated a figure should Daniel and Falkirk wish to extend this agreement on a more permanent basis. Meanwhile, the Bairns are on friendly action on Saturday when Belgian side Royal Antwerp visiting a match to officially open the new South Stand. There you go. So that's back in the way. 2009. Wow. There you go.
Just like yesterday, mate. Just like yesterday.
So Daniel Marqueta is this week's player. So message us, DM us, just the name Daniel Marqueta, so people go, what the hell are these people talking about? Onwards to Livi, but before we go, got to say thank you again to our sponsors, Armour Architecture, Behind the Wall, and of course the Falkirk football fans in training. Lava Cup is coming really, really soon. I kept seeing all the socials that's happening for that. And of course, if you want to get involved with the boys, every Monday they are at the stadium 8 to 9 or Tuesday 7:30 to 8:30. If you're looking to get fit, and as I say, it's a new year, new you, get involved in a bit of football action with the guys through the foundation. And I've got the new initiative with the Walking Football Squad, where they are playing the Super Vets football, and that's happening at the stadium Friday between 5 and 6, and it's like old school 5 rules, and you have to be over 50. So if you are like sitting about on the couch listening to this or watching this and you think, oh, I need to get fit for the new year, this is the place to start with the boys and the Falkirk football fans in training. So like I say, stadium 8 to 9, 7:30 to 8:30 on a Tuesday, 8 to 9 on a Monday. And then if you want to get involved in the Super Vets football, 5 to 6 at the stadium on a Friday, get in touch. The links are below. Ian, Dougie, Willie will help you out at all. They're a brilliant bunch of lads, and there's a lot of banter. I keep bumping into them in the pub though. Like honestly, they keep saying, "Oh, we're having a meeting." I saw Mark and a few of the boys, Ali, last week as well. But yeah, we're having a committee meeting, which generally involves going to the pub and eating curry. So it's a great group to join. Absolutely brilliant bunch of lads. So get involved with them. The links are below. Anything to add before we leave this epic episode, Ross?
No, I don't think so, mate. I think
we've covered it all. I think we've just about covered it all, haven't we?
We have, just about.
Just about there.
It's been good to be back because we obviously had a wee break last week with the timing of the game. So good to get back to it. However, it is. We went from early doors Sunday morning to now 12:30 on a Sunday afternoon. And we better go and crack on. But
we better go back to our families now. But listen, thank you very much, as always, for either watching or listening to the podcast. Rate us, review us, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Get on our socials, just type in Falkirk Daft, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Leave comments, talk shite, tell us about how much you love Daniel Marqueta. That would be smashing, or how much you hate Callumn Morrison now. That's all our feed's been this week, is just a constant debate about Callumn Morrison. And then yesterday, all these Raith Rovers supporters creeping onto our socials after they were saying, "Oh, you didn't get an email saying that you could sit beside Callumn Morrison in the stand." And we're like, "Yes, we did." Actually, in fairness to a lot of Raith Rovers supporters saying that's embarrassing from the club.
Yeah. Good to see Ewan calling it out.
Ewan Cameron for once, Jesus Christ! I couldn't believe that. By the way, if you check our socials, Ewan Cameron has basically went in at 2-footed in the Raith Rovers supporters, saying that I'm glad Falkirk won. Like, what?
Excellent.
Unbelievable. Who knew? Ewan Cameron speaking sense. I never thought I would see the day. There you go. He also thinks Dylan Easton's a fanny as well, so there we go. Brilliant. So yeah, socials, get all the chat on there, and if you want to be a guest pundit, you can slip into our DMs as well. And of course, we never talk about the merch. Ross, write it in the minutes. merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk. Get a dog bandana, get a baby grow, get a hoodie, get a handbag. I don't know if there is a handbag, but you can get a tote bag.
There's a tote bag.
A tote bag with Falkirk Daft on it. You can be the envy of all the other Falkirk supporters when you're kicking about in your Falkirk Daft clobber. So get involved, merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk. We're on to Livi now. 3 huge games ahead. Livi, Thistle and Ayr. Destiny. We'll know where we're going to be come the end of this month. Will we be in the playoffs? Will we be still in that title contention? It's going to go one way or the other. It's going to be a really exciting month, and we're here for it on Falkirk Daft. Thank you very much for listening, and until the next time, Ross Wayne.
Only one Paul Smith. Expect unexpected.
We're Falkirk Daft. We're Falkirk Daft. Talking about the dark blues and having a bit of a laugh. We're Falkirk Daft. We're Falkirk Daft. You can listen in the pub or you can listen in the bath. We're Falkirk Daft. We're Falkirk Daft. For everyone who's caring about being a Falkirk Bairn, we're Falkirk Daft. We are Falkirk Daft.